Jason is finally in Dead by Daylight, and he might be the biggest killer the game has ever added, but as a Survivor main, I already have a few concerns. Before we get into those concerns though, let's give credit where credit is due. Jason actually feels like Jason, guys. Behavior did a great job with his design, from the sound effects when he's phasing to his slow, intimidating presence around the map. He's not some flashy anime style killer with a complicated power that takes 3 paragraphs to explain. He's a true slasher, and that's exactly what the community wanted. I also think it's a huge accomplishment that Behavior was finally able to land one of the horror's biggest icons. Jason has been one of the most requested killer for years. In fact, Trapper was basically DBD's stand-in for Jason back in the day if you look at the mask and the weapon he carries around the map. For DBD to kick off his 10th year by adding Jason is a massive win. It gets longtime fans excited and could even bring new players into the game because Jason is recognizable far beyond the Dead by Daylight community. Now let's talk about my concerns. Right off the bat, I think his phase might be a little too strong. The fact that there's no timer means he can stay in phase and move around the map at extremely high speeds. For solo queue players, that could become a problem, a real problem, because solo survivors already struggle with communication. Then there's the spear. Even after the PTB changes, it feels incredibly difficult to play around because of how fast it travels. I think there are still some adjustments that could be made to it, whether the changes to the shrine placement, reload mechanic, or additional penalties when retrieving spears from hooks. The bigger issue is that Behavior has always struggled with balancing solo queue and survive with friends. There's practically 2 different games. My concern is that Jason could end up being balanced around coordinated survive with friends teams, which would make him feel oppressive in solo queue. When that happens, newer players and solo queue survivors end up having a much worse experience. Now don't get me wrong, I'm genuinely happy Jason is finally in the game, okay? Let's get that straight. But all his hype creates expectations that no killer can realistically live up to. Jason is one of the most iconic horror characters of all time, and some players are already treating him like he's going to save Dead by Daylight. Well, let this be a rude awakening, he won't. And that's not because he's bad, it's because no single killer can carry an entire game. There's also issues of power creep. Jason is the shiny new toy right now, but eventually another killer will release and the cycle will continue. We've seen it happen time and time again. Remember how often you saw Springtrap when he first launched compared to now? At the end of the day, I think Jason is exactly the kind of killer Dead by Daylight needed. Whether he's healthy for the game long term is a completely different question. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you think Jason is balanced? Or do you think changes need to be made? And as always, don't forget to subscribe. Peace.